Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. And with that, I bring back Ken's Corner from its slumber.
4 weeks about, huh?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Well, you were in Houston, and then I had something going on the first week. So sorry, guys, but we're back. We're here.
And I hope you're doing well, Ken. You obviously you've been very busy. I heard that you've been completely clobbered by work, a mountain of work.
Yes, which is good because that's how I pay the bills. And I actually am going out next weekend to teach a gun class in California, believe it or not. And then the next weekend we're going to be in the mountains over here, and that's our birthday gift to us from her mom, my wife's mom.
Why is it every time you come into town, you
you leave
when I'm leaving?
I don't know. But this class has been planned for a long. This class, it's like we don't plan anything. This class has been planned for like 5 months, 4 months.
Is it something that I've said?
Yes, it's something that you said. It's something. It's the smell. No, I'm just joking.
Oh wow!
Oh.
Wow. Straight to the knees. All right. Even though he just did a completely sweeping my leg, Ken nonetheless still has the energy to do a Hadouken fireball straight to the face of CBS and 60 Minutes. Wow. That was a powerful one. Very powerful one. Now, Ken, I see a new shirt. I like dogs.
And maybe 3 people.
Wow, 3 people. Am I one of the people?
You are one of them. You are one of them.
I made the list.
You made the list of the short list. But it's just I just like getting people's attention with my shirts. So just like the guy who started this a year ago was the Blackwater shirt. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That always starts conversations. People are like, is that the Blackwater that changed to Z, that changed to something else, and blah blah blah, and so yes, it is. It's the original Blackwater. Yeah. So
now, one thing we'd like to talk about is, Ken, we want to pray for the victims of both Florida and the Carolinas, Tennessee. Ken, you brought this up. There's just so much devastation going on.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of videos, and today I watched a pastor who was he was at Calvary Chapel, Asheville. So he was right there in the middle of it, and it was kind of a testimony and kind of a sharing of what's going on with all his people in the church, and it was just very, very, very. It brought tears to my eyes. It was just beyond. Just about a 20-minute video. You can find it. I think it's Asheville Calvary Chapel Church. I think it's called Asheville Calvary Chapel Church. And they're just showing how they were just a lot of people came together and were working on, but it's just a whole bunch of, there's so many different people that have come to help and aid. And remember we were talking about the FEMA, I can't say we were talking about it, but I was talking about it with other people. The FEMA, being there and doing nothing, number one, and staying in the hotels, number two. And all my special forces friends were flying out there, and they had so many private helicopters working, and they're saving people, and it was kind of cool. It was America. It was old school. It's what we should do for our fellow our fellow humans. So,
amen.
Crazy, yeah. But I had a couple scripture verses too. So I had an Old Testament scripture verse: "What the enemy has meant for evil, God meant it for good." That's Genesis 50:20. That's when Joseph said to his brothers. And then I have a New Testament verse: "The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I've come to that they may have life and have it more abundantly." And that's John 10:10. So those are the 2 scripture verses that I wanted to share with everybody. So
Right.
Just beyond. It's just very, very. It's very heavy. It's heavy.
It
And I think
is.
it's going to get heavy. I think it's going to get heavier. So just you got to rely on the Lord, man. You have to. I can't imagine not having him right now. But
Well, to that point, I mean, catching up finally kind of caught up with at
yeah,
least some of the things you have been talking about for a while, Ken. Weather
yes,
modification, geoengineering. We
yep.
approached the subject for the first time, but I think we're gonna kick that can a little bit down the road tonight.
Yeah. I know you guys talked about it extensively on catching up. Even when Marco started going off on Project Popeye and some of the other things we had talked about on the pre-show. But the whole team of guys finally opened up about it. Man, everybody was like, because now Jacob's on board. Now Jacob's in it, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. But it seems like it's not real. But we've been controlling the weather for a long time, and we have been modifying the weather for decades, and that's just reality. That's just what you have. Even on Wikipedia, it talks about Project Popeye. And cloud seeding definitely isn't new, but it's making big headlines today. So, scientifically speaking, geoengineering introduces compounds of particles to the storm systems, all right, with planes or drones. And most commonly used is silver iodide. So this stuff's coming down on us. So, and I'm just gonna finish off with this. Once this operation is fully exposed, the fur is going to fly. Every single climate catastrophe becomes a liability to anyone and everyone involved in these programs, and they all know it. There is a federal gag order on National Weather Service, no employees, and local meteorologists simply do what they do to protect their paychecks and pensions. So they know exactly how long their leash is. These guys who participate in this insanity and protect their paychecks and pensions, that's all they do. For example, check out Reuters headline. This is a Reuters headline. U.S. officials struggle to quash Hurricane Helene conspiracy theories. And look the article up. It's a Reuters headline. It's off of Reuters, and you look the article up, read it, and everything in it is just the opposite of what's going on. These guys are doubling down on their damage control because the wave of awakening is gaining momentum. I mean, look at you guys talked about it, right? So think about this: the entire global science community again describing exactly what we see in the sky: jet spraying particles that cause dirty, filthy, dingy skies that disrupt the hydrological cycles, destroy the ozone layer, and contaminate everything on the ground. What comes up must come down, right? And they tell us we're not seeing what we're seeing. It would look like exactly what's happening, but it's not. So the dots have I've connected. Seeing the heavily armed U.S. population is rapidly an increasing liability. So, and we are so heavily armed, I think we're a liability to those in power. So, not hard to connect that dot when you look at the last few years. They're trying to thin the herd. And I'll finish with this. So, there is no legitimate discussion about the climate without addressing the geoengineering issue. There's no they talk about global warming. Well, what about geoengineering? They talk about this. What about geoengineering? It plays a part of all of it.
Well, I'm just going to say this, and I might be wrong, but I would say that maybe geoengineering's cover is global man-made climate change.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
whenever there's a problem on the planet with pollution, they just point to fossil fuels when really it probably has something to do with the terraforming that they're doing.
Yeah. And what's funny is I'm not the global one, but look at the Bible, what it says in Revelation 7. It says when and that's basically the rapture chapter. You got it, Revelation 7. I didn't think I was going to talk about this, but it talks about how they were burning up from the heat of the planet, basically. It talks about they were and then we were just talking about so I think that's Revelation 7:23 or 4, something like that.
7:23. Oh, yes. Well, 16. Never again will they hunger, never again will they thirst. The sun will not beat down on them,
Yeah,
nor
the
any
sun will not be
scorching
down
heat.
on them. Yep.
It's talking
Yep.
about the people who I believe are
Or
with God.
raptured. Yeah, they're the ones that are raptured. Yep,
Correct.
because that's what I believe that's a raptured. And then in Revelation 11, verse 18, we're talking about that. Destroy those who destroy the earth, and
Let's not
whether
go.
it's
Let's not
yeah.
go there yet. Let's not go there yet.
Okay, all right.
All right. Now talk about whether a weather biological hazard of epic proportions. We have a video.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
This kind of reminds me of a time when there was this giant spill by Exxon Valdez, and to make everybody feel good, they brought out the palm olive, and they were going around and taking all the fuzzy bunnies and all the wonderful little sea animals and the seagulls and scrubbing them down, and the seals with palm olive. And it's like that's what that editing was.
Yeah,
it was an absolute disaster in like a beautiful natural environment, and then it just goes into an oil slick, and then they only focus on the cleanup, not on the actual damage being done.
Yep, they blatantly altered one of Kamala's word salad responses to the interview, and the incident. It's just the latest incident of propaganda masquerading as news in the legacy media. And Trump called it the greatest fraud in broadcasting history. So I don't know about that, but it's one of them, and it's just plain fraud. Are you surprised, really? So this pretty much disqualifies all news organizations for sure. Proves CBS as a regime-controlled propaganda machine. And if you're surprised, you haven't been paying attention. So Trump
CBS,
went on X.
CIA.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly. So Trump went on X this past Thursday calling Kamala a moron and to take away CBS license. So he was going on his rant, his mean tweets, right? So her answer to the question about Israel was so dumb, they actually replaced it with another answer to a different question. Just think about that. They actually replaced it with a different answer from another question. And remember, CBS moderated last month's vice presidential debate. So nothing from any mainstream media can be trusted. Nothing.
They need to go into the bottomless abyss of, I don't know, such great brands as Zenith.
And now former CBS staffers are calling for an outside investigation of what's this is quote 60 Minutes knows Kamala Harris is stupid, which is why they edited her to make her sound more coherent. That was a quote from one of the CBS staffers that they're calling for outside. That was a quote.
I've been in editing bays for much of my life, and I can tell you the dialogue went something like this. Oh, well, boss, you see, she answers this question and it makes no sense.
No,
well, we cannot make her look bad. So I need you to take a clip or a soundbite from somewhere else and make her answer the question in intelligent ways. Now, whatever you say, boss.
It's totally from a different. It's from a different part of her interview. It's craziness.
I can even describe the situation. This guy in a Hawaiian shirt, probably with the khakis on, is behind the editing bay, and it's probably some mean face, a clipboard woman with spectacles and red hair and freckles that is the producer. I'm telling you, I've dealt with them for a lot of my life.
Oh yeah, you're describing an experience that you had, senor. Oh man. Oh,
what can you do? But
what can you
do? Know that the Lord is going to judge them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, just in time for the election, because
exactly
California is kind of allergic to democracy. A mask mandate for California. Go ahead, Ken.
Yep. California, several Bay Area counties, health officials have issued orders requiring face masks to be worn in hospitals, nursing facilities, and other care facilities. And order goes into effect November 1st, and it won't end until March or April of 2025, they say. And the counties are Alameda, Contra Costa, Santa Clara, San Mateo, and Napa. So I think it's just a test of obedience for the public to see who follows. So that's it. But
Well, see, everybody who puts on a mask, they're reducing their IQ by a few points every single time.
Yeah.
Taking oxygen away.
I don't see them. I don't see them pulling that off. I see them having to go, another disease or another. I don't see them pulling the mask mandate off again.
I don't know. Californians in San Mateo,
maybe.
You're talking about
you're
some
right.
pretty. I don't know. Challenged people in those
challenged
those particular counties.
Oh man, yeah, you're right. It's Alameda, Contra Costa, Santa Clara. Yeah.
What wasn't Nancy Pelosi's county in there as well?
I think so. I think San Mateo is her county, right?
It's either
Napa's. Napa's down a little. Yeah, Napa or it's either Santa Clara, San Mateo, or Napa.
Okay.
But Alameda and Contra Costa is like inland a little bit. So I don't know where Alameda is.
They're all right by San Francisco.
Yeah, they're all right by San Francisco. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Wow. Oh, well. Hey.
Talking about a person who probably needs a few brain cells, let's move on to Tim Walz. Data does not impact people going to the grocery store, only people in a far, far away land. A long time ago, in a fairy tale kingdom of Democron.
His message to voters who were blaming Kamala Harris for sky-high food prices. So Timmy Boy sat down with Michael Strahan of ABC News, and it aired on this past Friday on the 11th of October. So the interview was a dumpster fire, man. So Michael Strahan asked Tim Walz about sky-high grocery prices. Grocery prices were rose almost 25% since Biden and Harris took office. And wages are down too. Walz said that there was a lot of false information about food prices. So don't believe your lying eyes. It's just misinformation, according to Walz. Everything's fine. Here's his quote. So we see some of the data, but data doesn't impact people in their daily lives going to the grocery store. You see false information. That's a quote. Dumpster fire. Oh my gosh.
Do you think possibly, would it be possible that we get someone on the Democratic ticket with an IQ above 60?
I'd rather Obama be there again. At least we know what we're getting, right? And or even Hillary. I mean, they're evil and they're demonic, but they're not stupid. I just see stupidity. I don't know why they went down so low.
It's by design because it's like they can be basically used as puppets. Oh, yeah. Tim, true. Sign this.
Yeah.
Madam President, sign this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, anyway, I don't know what to say anymore. Just Maranatha. Yeah.
Please, Lord.
Please, Lord, come quickly. Oh,
Kamala
man.
at a town hall being fed dialogue leaves one to wonder, who's the brain of Kamala Harris? And if we talk about her brain, who is her liver? If we talk about her liver, does he or she prefer scotch or rum?
Oh my! It was a town hall meeting, and it was through Univision, and it showed her teleprompter live. So they did like a back view of her. I was going to give you a video of it, but you can just imagine, or you may have seen it. And it showed the teleprompter. It was this past Thursday when Kamala was pandering to the Latino voters by Univision. And of course, Kamala is using a teleprompter because she has no clue what she's talking about. But anyway, Univision panicked after they realized they showed Kamala's teleprompter live on the air. As soon as the camera panned behind Kamala, the teleprompter went black, but it was too late. And the town hall was a total dumpster. Everything her and everything Timmy does is the dumpster fire. One voter told Kamala that he had big concerns about her shoving Biden aside and taking his place as the nominee without earning a single vote. It was straight up, and she rambled incoherently in a fake accent, believe it or not, about COVID tests and blaming Biden and claimed Biden urged her to run for president. So another voter asked Kamala about soaring grocery prices thanks to her failed policies. The voter said, I used to spend $250 a week on food, and now it goes up to $350. What are you going to do to help the middle class so that the cost of living does not destroy us? That was a quote. Kamala said, I come from a working class. I'm never going to forget what I came from. Seriously, that's what she said.
No one cares where you came from.
That's what she always, yeah. So basically, Kamala spoke in a fake accent as she admitted grocery prices are too expensive. What a disaster. So what the sad part is she still sounds like an idiot, even though she is reading from a teleprompter. It's amazing. Amazing.
Kamala, when I was 14, I was put in a closet and beat with belts until I decided to eat my porridge and do my chores. Yeah. Well, I came from a middle-class family, and so I'm not going to forget where I came from.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically what it sounded like. It's beyond nuts. I mean, at least I want to listen to someone with a brain. Come on. It's beyond nuts. And Trump, I'm like I said, I'm not a fan, but I'm 100% Trump over the left. I'm telling you, and he'll talk for an hour and a half without anything. No notes, no nothing.
Yeah. So I had a conversation with a young man who said that as a Christian, I don't want to vote, and I gave him 5 reasons why you should not do that, and I'll try to remember them. One of them. First of all, Trump is not going to try to unilaterally bring back abortion in every state. There's number one. As a Christian, you should care about life, not about women's right to kill babies. There's second one candidate wants to shut everybody up and have only approved speech on the airwaves. That would be Kamala Harris. Trump wants people, even if it's unpopular, to be able to say what he wants. So that goes directly to being able to preach the gospel, which sometimes can be unpopular.
Yep, exactly.
So if you want the gospel to continue, you should vote for Trump.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the last 3, but one of them was one person has said that they want the war in Ukraine to continue, and they want to, no matter what, support Ukraine in their fight against Russia. The other candidate, Donald Trump, said, I want 2 people to sit at the table and to have meaningful discussions of peace and a ceasefire. Yeah. Those are 3 reasons.
Yeah.
Peacemaker. Yes. Protecting the innocent.
Yep.
And I can't forget the last one.
3 main reasons. Yep. It's awesome.
I mean, again, I agree with you, Ken. There are so many problems with Donald Trump as far as he is not a Christian. We can't imagine that he's going to save us. But at the same time, there's one candidate who is openly hostile to Christianity. That's Kamala Harris.
Yes. And she's a Jezebel, man. And then you can see Trump kind of being maybe possibly a Nebuchadnezzar. I expect he wrote chapter 4 of Daniel. Chapter 4 of Daniel is Nebuchadnezzar's writing. And I expect to see him in heaven, so not Trump, but Nebuchadnezzar. Oh. And I hope to see Trump in heaven. I hope he, I hope he
comes to know the Lord Jesus,
I hope
the real
Lord
Jesus, not the one that is being foisted onto him.
Nope, not that one.
All right, sorry, I had a tangent there, but let's talk about this.
Yes.
This next one, Afghan refugees planned a terrorist strike on election day. Remember the 5th of November.
Yes, and that's a massacre that he and what's being lauded right now is that he worked for the CIA, kind of like Muhammad Atta with the 9/11 thing, where it was Colonel Atta when he was at when he went to American bases, and then all of a sudden he's flying the planes. Anyway, so this guy was nabbed in Oklahoma this past Monday over the alleged terror plot, and he's employed as a security guard. He entered the U.S. September 9, 2021, just weeks after the Taliban regained control of Afghanistan. He was living in Oklahoma on a special immigrant visa, and these types of visas were doled out to more than 70,000 Afghans by the Biden-Harris administration after the U.S. pullout from Afghanistan. So that's crazy. The FBI also found evidence that he participated in ISIS-aligned Telegram groups. They are still trying to figure out how he became eligible for the visa. But when interrogated, he said he ordered AK-47 rifles, liquidating his family assets, and buying one-way tickets for his wife and child to travel home as he died as a martyr. So it's who knows? And then I just like, this news is just, the FBI. So I know the FBI is we're questioning the FBI's, validating, of anything right now. So I don't know. So, but I just thought it was an interesting story.
Yep, very interesting story. Worked for the CIA and now is doing election interference. It's almost as if the CIA doesn't like democracy either.
No. Yep. And then you wonder all these guys. We're going to find out about the guy who Trump had a third attempt on his life. Well, this guy was at his Coachella event, and he had guns and everything. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So anyway,
but first, we have to talk about this because for years and years and years, we all know that the government has been experimenting on their people. We're talking about the U.S., of course. By giving us all sorts of wonderful chemicals. Now, we've been their maybe the unwilling guinea pigs for many years. But now I feel now is the time that they roll out this plan on other countries rather than us. I have a video.
Look at the pesticides. So there are pesticides actually where their molecular activity is to increase aromatase, the enzyme that converts testosterone to estrogen. So atrazine, which is banned in Europe, but we spray 70 million pounds of it per year in the US, increases aromatase, which converts testosterone to estrogen. Illegal overseas. And we buy it from other countries. So China and Germany and other countries are selling us a chemical of which 70 million pounds are sprayed on our food, invisible and tasteless, which upregulates aromatase and converts testosterone to estrogen.
Interesting.
That's crazy. So we've all heard about the historic drop in male testosterone, levels over the past 50 to 60 years, but rarely does anyone delve into the cause of it. So, but that's just, the emasculation of the American male.
Speaking of emasculation of American males.
Doritos, this bag of Doritos from the United States has MSG and artificial food dye, but in the UK, it doesn't. And America's favorite cookie, Oreo's birthday cake, has 4 different artificial food dyes, and in Europe, they use beets, spirulina, and turmeric. And worst of all, right over the border, this box of Fruit Loops in Canada is naturally colored with carrot juice, blueberry juice, and watermelon juice. This American version has 4 different artificial dyes made from petroleum and the preservative DHT, which is an endocrine disrupting chemical linked to cancer.
They are getting paid to kill us. Our own government are paid assassins by the corporation. Our own government is a corporation. When are you going to wake up and see that we are at war? This is a world at war.
She was a recent guest on Joe Rogan, and she blew the whistle on the chemical herbicide widely used on swaths of Americans' croplands. So Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy story. And atrazine, man, that's remember I mentioned this in the pre-show. Remember the Alex Jones, the gay frogs?
Yes.
That's kind of how they started was they spraying this atrazine on all the 70 million pounds of this tasteless, odorless chemical, and it's criminal. It's criminal, and it causes the testosterone to turn into estrogen. And so it's amazing.
Now, it might turn men from having high testosterone levels, but what does it do to women? Well, I have a theory. That's our next video.
Oh.
May the name of Crockett forever be cursed after this.
He said that we've got these cities and these towns that are being overrun by gangs and the crime out of control. I absolutely agree with that. And guess what? It's the MAGA gang. It is the white supremacists that have decided to descend upon places such as Springfield, Ohio. So I agree with him. I just disagree with who the problems are. The problems are him and his minions. The problems aren't the people that have come to make our economy stronger, the people that have actually been able to help to continue to make sure that we got out of the big hole that he put us in after COVID-19 with his ineptness. I agree that there are problems in our communities, but usually it's some white supremacists on the other side.
I can't stand those desperate white supremacist gangs in the inner cities.
Yeah, me neither. I can't help but remember when
this girl is so out of touch with reality. Oh my gosh!
I can't help but remember Barack Obama when he said to Mitt Romney, "The Cold War, they're calling and they want their policy back." I think we should tell Jasmine Crockett that she should call the Confederate States of America and ask them for their policy back, because I would have to say that the minority opinion of most white people today is I don't think there's not many racists left. I could be wrong.
There isn't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Yeah. It's just like
from 1865 to now, I think there's been a huge decrease. Huge.
But so Democrat-run cities are blaming Republicans. So make it make sense. And make it make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
Well,
she's high on crack cocaine.
She is. But I can tell you, I have some reliable sources, because the bastion of truth, the George Costanza stand-up guy, the talking head, Brian Stelter, well, he gave a man a soapbox to make some pretty valid points, in my opinion. I have a video.
Yes, we pulled this out of the archives. I love it.
It's nice to be on CNN. Hello to all your viewers. I resent you calling me a denier. That is a word meant to put me down. I'm a skeptic about climate change, and I want to make it darn clear, Mr. Kennedy's not a scientist. I am. He's the CEO of the Weather Channel now. I was the founder of the Weather Channel, not the co-founder.
And I'm glad you did, because I am addicted to the Weather Channel. I watch a lot of cable news.
Now, hold on just a minute. I'm not done. And CNN has taken a very strong position on global warming that it is a consensus. Well, there is no consensus in science. Science isn't a vote.
Yes.
Science is about facts. And if you get down to the hard, cold facts, there's no question about it. Climate change is not happening.
Terraforming?
There is no significant man-made global warming now. There hasn't been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future. There's a whole lot of baloney. And yes, it has become a big political point of the Democratic Party and part of their platform. And I regret it's become political instead of scientific. But the science is on my side.
I don't think we're going to come to a conclusion about the topic right here. What I do wonder, though, is when you see...
because you wouldn't allow it to happen on CNN. But I'm happy that I got on the air and got a chance to talk to your viewers. Hello, everybody. There is no global warming.
What I do wonder is when you see the government, when you see NASA, when you see other institutions say that 97% of climate scientists agree, Do you think they're making it up? What I don't understand is how you square that.
Well, that's a manipulated figure, and let me explain it to you. The government puts out about $2.5 billion directly for climate research every year. It only gives that money to scientists who will produce scientific results that support the global warming hypothesis.
To cover geoengineering
position.
Yes.
So they don't have any choice. If you're going to get the money, you got to support their position. Therefore, 97% of the scientific reports published support global warming.
Geoengineering.
Why? Because those are the ones the government pays for, and that's where the money is. It's real
Geoengineering.
simple. But that doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't make it true. That only makes it bought and paid for. The money goes in circles.
I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to try to refute you on
that's
the facts.
The truth.
I'll simply say that the vast majority...
Please stand back from this issue and let the two sides be on the air. There are 31,000 scientists who have signed a petition that says it is not valid. That my
They're not scientists, according to him.
And we'll keep battling it, and we will prevail in time, but I don't know if we'll do it in my lifetime.
I do hope viewers are Googling the data you're sharing, because I do think it's skewed. I have to say that. I want to ask you about the weather.
No, it's not true, and I hope you will go to the websites that present the papers that show that none of this alarmism about ice and heat waves and drought, none of it is happening.
Is the Weather Channel part of the conspiracy?
Well, the Weather Channel has bought into it. As I say it, they've drunk the Kool-Aid. But so has all the media. That's no big surprise.
Let me
Wow. Wow. Wow.
That was kind of painful for Brian Stelter, I think. But
yeah. He let him talk. Which was good. He let him talk. Yeah, he did.
We must give credit to where credit is due.
Exactly. Yeah. And I remember that. So I pulled that out of the archives. I pulled that video out of the archives. It came up on my Twitter feed, and I was like, there you go. Because everybody is talking about climate, changing the climate and changing, activating this and spraying the skies and all this other stuff. So, and Dane Wigington, who is the Geoengineer Watch guy, who I have talked to many times, who I have, we're trying to see if we can get him on the show. That'd be fun to get him on the show. That'd be a big show.
Absolutely. I'd love to have Mr. Wigington on the show. That I'm sure there's many people that watch the show that would love that. Turning to our next story, I'd like to talk about the photo op. Well, if you don't know what photo op I'm talking about, these gentlemen will explain.
And then also from that video, I started getting a lot of messages to my Instagram from actual aircraft commanders, squadron commanders.
No kidding.
I had a squadron commander from North Carolina reach out to me. They had to load a C-17 full of supplies just to take a photo op for Kamala, and they never sent the bird.
Wait a minute, what?
They loaded an entire C-17 full of supplies for the hurricane victims just for Kamala to go there, take a photo, take a video, and they never sent the C-17. It was just
Are
a
you
full.
serious?
Yeah, and that was a National Guard, North Carolina National Guard unit. That was a 06 that reached out to me. And then I had another.
He reached out to you to tell you that they did a photo op and with the intention of never sending.
Never sent it. It was just a photo op.
But we're seeing a lot of that, and I saw a lot of that when I was watching all the videos. I saw a lot of the FEMA stuff and what they were doing, and it's just sad. It's really sad. Trying to hide how many people have really died and all this other stuff. It's just craziness. I want the Lord to come back.
It's depressing. It's very depressing that we have a person that has made it to this stage in the election on nothing. The last time I saw this was Barack Obama, and we saw what joy that administration was. This is
going to be 10 times worse. 10 times worse. Have you seen the Tucker interview? The Hamid, I forget her last name, but she knew Kamala in the, she's a lawyer, and Kamala was a lawyer, and she saw her come up, and she talks openly to Tucker for about an hour and 20 minutes about just what she saw. And she was one of Kamala's, friends back in the day. And she's obviously not on board with what she saw. Yeah. It's a crazy interview, dude. You have to watch it. You have to watch it. People, you have to watch this interview. It's a nuts interview. It's her name's Harmeet. I forget her last name, but just remember her first name. Yeah, look at Harmeet. Tucker Carlson. It's the last interview that he did. It's a crazy one. And she talks about everything with the Willie Brown thing and all this, how she was getting paid.
Harmeet Dillon.
Dillon, yes, that's it. But I just watched that today. I was like, wow. Yep.
Wow. Let's talk about let's talk about this. We have a video.
2008, something unbelievable happened for us in the FBI. We were getting lots of rumors about this high-level asset that worked for several intelligence agencies at the same time. He worked for the Saudi Intelligence Service. He worked for the CIA, and he was being developed as a political asset in Chicago, Illinois. He was not even a United States citizen, but it was said that he was a student visa and that he was a national from another country. In 2008, everyone in the intelligence structure found out who he was. It was this individual whose name I don't like to say, who became president in 2008 of the United States.
That I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
One of his code names was Renegade. His real name was Barry Soetoro, but he adopted a different name for his political career. When they ran him for president, the cabal, basically, this was the culmination of so many of their plans for so many years. His mission was to destroy the United States from within, one institution at a time. One of the things he did, of course, was he defunded our military. He brought down the resources that they got. But then he ordered our military in many, many instances and in various theaters to attack our allies and to defend and supply and help our enemies. That's exactly how he created ISIS. He would say publicly that the military were going to bomb our enemies, but then he would have the military actually bomb enemies of ISIS, our allies. He gave ISIS funding and equipment by basically ordering our military to take equipment into a certain theater and then abandon it. And the commanders would say, that's ridiculous. We'd just be handing that stuff over to ISIS. And the president's office would say, don't question orders, just follow your orders. And that was
the enemy.
And you can see, you can see what happened with the Biden administration leaving how many billions of dollars worth of stuff to the Afghans, to the Taliban.
To the Afghans.
So it's to the Afghans, man. So it still continues. It's beyond nuts.
Now you understand why they have to get rid of Donald Trump.
Yeah, and they don't want him. They don't want him there. They don't want him. I just don't see him winning. I don't see the possibility. I see him winning for real, just like in 2020. If you really count the votes that he had, and it just switched at midnight, everything switched. But I see him being like 57, 8, 9, percent. I see that being truly 70%. I just don't see. Yeah, I just don't see. Especially Kamala. There's no way. That's why when I was talking about possibly, Michelle, I could see Michelle running, and then Michelle would do 10 times better than Kamala. She's likable.
Yeah.
I know what she's about, but she's likable. So, but anyway, yep.
Now, something that would make the internet absolutely melt would be when Donald Trump goes on to Joe Rogan's show, which has been confirmed.
Yeah. And well, I don't know if they've confirmed it, but I actually looked at Twitter today, And Elon Musk says that he'll go on, that a Trump appearance on Joe Rogan this is quote unquote, will happen. So we're 24 days out from the election, and we'll see. We'll see. We shall see. Yep.
Okay. We have
and the other,
Wyoming fires overshadowed by the hurricanes in the east. Take it away.
Yeah.
Ken.
So massive wildfires in Wyoming. So keep them in prayer too. It's Bighorn National Forest. It's just, it's 75,000 acres so far, and it's probably more by now. Say it's initially sparked by lightning, but who knows? But I'm sure there's been big fires back, but this has just been massively overshadowed by the hurricanes. Which what's bigger? I mean, this hasn't. There's. I think Wyoming is the least populated state. I do believe. I think I don't know how many people are in Wyoming, but it's just I just think about the wildlife and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah.
Okay. We have finally we have this video talking about, well, if you thought America was the land of the free and the home of the brave, maybe you should reconsider.
Let's ask some of the NGOs. We are actively bringing people to this country for exploitation, millions of people. Last year, on April 26, 2023, Tara Lee Rodas testified before Congress that the U.S. is a middleman in the trafficking of children. Last year, there were 85,000 children lost. Not lost, they were sold. In my opinion, they were sold. And we're the middleman, as Tara Lee said. Recently, the Inspector General of HHS, Health and Human Services, under Javier Becerra and Alejandro Mayorkas, Latinos, abusing Latinos, because the Latinos are the biggest target of trafficking. And women are 70% of people trafficked. Children are 25%. Imagine you have a woman taking care of our border, abusing these children. The Inspector General says that 325,000 children are missing. Again, they're not missing, they've been sold.
That's the CEO of Goya Foods. Goya is pretty big, right?
Huge.
And he literally said, he states 325,000 children are not missing, they've been sold. So
I've been banging that drum, and
you just don't see any Democrats talking about this.
No.
You don't see any Democrats.
Nope.
It's weird. It's so weird.
They must be the ones buying it.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy. Yep.
And our final story for today, if you didn't think that we were serious and that the deep state does want to kill Donald Trump, well, a third assassination attempt was foiled just yesterday.
Yep. At Coachella. So the shooter had forged VIP passes. So this was a sophisticated operation, and he had multiple fake passports, multiple fake driver's license, and a fake license plate as well. So when will the Democrats stop trying to kill this guy and call him a threat to democracy? They're inciting the craziness, and they know it. And his name was V.E.M. Miller. So if you want to look him up, you can look at the details on the news. So, and there's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff about him too. That's just but it's nuts.
Well, that concludes the update for this episode. Who knows when we'll be back, considering all of the things that are going on in both of our lives. But I would like to leave you with a verse that has been coming up over and over again in conversations with many people this past week. Revelation 11:18. The nations were angry. The nations were angry, and your wrath has come. The time has come for judging the dead and for rewarding your servants, the prophets, and your people who revere your name, both great and small, and for destroying those who destroy the earth. There are so many people that are going to be found guilty of that specific thing.
Yeah. And I want to leave with one last thing. Listen, God establishes leaders, and he takes leaders away. All right, that's Daniel 2:21. The leaders are used to punish nations and to bless nations. And you look at Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous increase, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people groan. So it's just we have to be just focus on the Lord, guys. Focus on the Lord.
Amen.
That's your focus.
And with that, we'll see you again. This is Ken's Corner, signing off.